Just as sure as the sun rises, there is adventure, exploring, and so much beauty to enjoy. Hello, and welcome to another one of Jenn's Journeys. I'm Jennifer Herron. Buckle up because we are headed out west where the deer and the antelope roam. Oh, and the dinosaurs, too. I know the song doesn't go that way, but I'll be getting to that. First, I am taking you on a bucket list trip for many who love the great outdoors as we venture into Colorado, Utah, and New Mexico. And wouldn't you know, this journey begins with one of the prettiest sunrises. We'll see lots of beautiful sunrises and sunsets along this drive. So here we go. We are off. And our first destination is Durango, Colorado. Now, that is a full-day drive from where I live in Tennessee. I mean, almost literally a 24-hour straight drive. So a great midway stopping point is Dodge City, Kansas. Yes, that Dodge City, the setting for Gunsmoke. I absolutely love this Old West town and the saloon serving up sarsaparilla. It puts you right in the real-life setting of Marshal Matt Dillon and Miss Kitty running the town. And this is also the town that Toby Keith visited when he wrote his big hit song, Should Have Been a Cowboy. Little trivia there for you. Well, as we kept driving towards Durango next morning, the first sight of the mountains builds the anticipation. And traveling in October really allowed us to see some fall beauty, in particular with the bright yellow leaves of the aspen trees. It was like driving alongside a painting. Remember Bob Ross on PBS painting those beautiful trees? It was something much like that. As we were getting closer to Durango, there was a community called South Fork. Now, it's right in the San Juan Forest, and that is where those aspen trees were really showing out. It was interesting to learn that these trees all share the same root system and just spread along the mountainside. That vibrant yellow was just gorgeous, though. And there were cabins lining the river as well, just below the aspens. And those rivers, take a look, are the cleanest, just crystal clear. Through this area, there are some small roadside shops with some really unique finds. For instance, chainsaw carvings of bears and wolves, along with gorgeous jewelry, turquoise, and all kinds of amazing stones, all handmade by the Native Americans. Ute, Pueblo, and Navajo tribes have ancestry in this area, and they have amazing craftsmanship and take pride in it. Each individual craftsman signs the back of their work, whether it's a jewelry piece or a piece of pottery, so you know exactly who made your treasure. From there, we kept on heading out to Durango. Next community is Pagosa Springs. It's right outside of Durango and a really cute resort area with shops and skiing outfitters and a wildlife ranch. This is a great stop because you can actually feed the animals, the elk, the bear, all the animals that you would imagine living there in Colorado in the mountains. Then we arrived in Durango. We always take one day to stroll the historic downtown Durango. It is like a breath of fresh air. The air is so crisp and clean there, and it's so quaint, pet-friendly as well. So our top recommendations as we were walking downtown: Cider Works. They have very unique wine and all kinds of apple slushes and ciders, and they're constantly creating new flavors to test your taste buds. Really good stuff. Also, you have to visit the Crepe food truck. Now, the chef is from France and has cooked in several countries. He speaks several different languages, so visiting with him is just so interesting and so much fun besides the food. Whether you like savory or sweet crepes, these are the best I think you'll have ever tasted. So be sure you stop there. Now, one reason for our destination was that my husband, Bobby Marquez, had a gig at Fort Lewis College. It is a very impressive campus. Very beautiful. Now, Bobby is a singer-songwriter, and he's performed in Durango for many years at what used to be the Abbey Theater, many of their community outdoor shows as well. And the community has always been so welcoming. They really embrace music and love the arts.
Music's loud and she's getting to my head. Honky tonk, don't you break my heart again. Honky tonk, well don't take me in and tear me up tonight. Well don't leave me to my loneliness. Don't leave me on the lines. Don't
This go-around, Bobby's good friend Tom Chacon shared a stage with him. Tom is a great fishing guide in Durango, as well as a thought-provoking songwriter. You can really hear that Chris Christopherson influence in his music. And as of late, Tom is a movie actor as well, so be sure to check out his work, Tom Chacon. Next day, we decided to take a road trip about 45 minutes up the road from Durango to Mesa Verde. This is a national park preserving the Pueblo villages, which are cliff dwellings. It is remarkable to even think about how they were built, much less accessed. These homes, built of stone, adobe plaster, and wood beams, date back to 1100 AD, and they are still standing strong. So sophisticated in their placement, protected from the elements and the weather and the side of the rock cliffs. The one sunken area in each of these family homes is called a kiva. That was a gathering spot for ceremonies. And imagine, some of these dwellings could house hundreds. They have nice roads where you can drive through the park with short hikes to the sites, or you can go on guided hikes as well into the dwellings, where you're actually standing within the Pueblo house. It will take about half a day or more. And take in the wildlife. I don't think I realized how large ravens are until this one called out to us above. One of the gift shops right there in the park, it was perched right above my head. Well, that night, we made it back by 5 p.m. for dinner with friends at their home in Durango on the Floridian. That is one of the rivers that runs through Durango, Animas and Floridian. It was such a serene setting. Next day, we got an early start to head out to Moab, Utah. It was just under a 3-hour scenic drive, and you really don't need a sign to know when you are near. The grand rust-colored rock formations are mesmerizing. Now, the best way to explore the marvels of nature is through a tour company. Now, not many go into the Arches National Park, though. And don't let them tell you that you can do it on your own. Okay, we learned this from people we watched. That terrain is rough with some major drop-offs and some really thick sand. So some cars have been known to be stranded for days there. Our guide company was fantastic, so I highly recommend them. We booked with NavTech, NAV/TEC. They have a monster truck type of Jeep that powers through that terrain. I won't lie, though, it is a bumpy ride. You're flopping from side to side of the vehicle, but that's the only way to explore. It was fun. It was an adventure, and we accessed areas others could not, and we learned so much from our guide. Okay, first of all, check out these footprints. Here's the part I was telling you about earlier. You guessed it. Researchers have proven that these are dinosaur tracks. Check them out. Plus, we stood where Kevin Costner's new movie Horizon was filmed, as well as Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, which was filmed at the Double Arches. These arches were formed by the expansion of frozen water and erosion. The iron deposits create that orange color. But this is also home to the largest Navajo sandstone dunes and salt mines. That salt is used to make fertilizer and de-icer. Of course, you'll spot plenty of pinyon pines, and the junipers are scattered all throughout the park as well. Now, among the impressive arches and various rock formations that take on various images, there are some towering, very thin walls of rock. I don't know about standing under them. It looks like they're going to fall at any minute. They are called fins, and they are formed from erosion. Imagine some of these arches are 100 feet or taller. That tour took about a half day, so we were not able to do the Canyonlands tour. So you're going to need about 2 days if you want to do both of those parks. That is a separate park. Give yourself an extra day. I hear it's comparative to going to the Grand Canyon and seeing those canyons, but if you're going to do the Canyonlands tour, they highly recommend you do it at sunset. They say there's nothing like sunset in the Canyonlands. Well, we did have time to putter around town, though. We loved the shopping. Plus, I have a restaurant recommendation for you. Stop at Gloria's right there along the row of all the shops. Everything was fresh and delicious. Try the Wild Thing Burger. It's made up of bison, Wagyu beef, elk, and wild boar. Absolutely delicious. And we traveled back to Durango from that point for the night. I tell you what, those sunsets are really pretty in Moab. Check out that pretty pink swirled sky. Well, next day we ventured into the popular Durango Farmers Marketplace, making another almost 4-hour drive then to Albuquerque from there. The trip was for what many call a bucket list adventure, the Albuquerque Balloon Fiesta. Can I just say, go if you get the chance? Wow, it was amazing. There's a long row of vendors with souvenirs, jewelry, and other items and food concessions. Then right across from that row is a huge field with everybody in lawn chairs and on blankets waiting for the excitement to begin. It started just before sunset with a skydiving team. They landed right in the middle of us, and check out the national anthem, as I've never experienced it before.
Ladies and gentlemen, Team Fast Track.
Then the balloons started to air up. I've ridden on a hot air balloon before, and it's breathtaking, so serene and exhilarating at the same time. Now, the event was about admiring those balloons, though. We didn't get to go for a ride this time. There were acres of hot air balloons, all with different themes. So you can see fire dogs, pigs. There was a spiritual balloon, all kinds of different themes going on. But quick note, if you plan on going, there are different sessions. You can either go in the morning or in the evening. We went in the evening, so we got to witness what they call the glow. They would light up these magnificent balloons in various sequences.
4, 3, 2, 1.
All burn! Woo!
Flicker bird. Pulse. 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 Pulse.
You can walk right up to each balloon as well. And following this phenomenal display, there was a drone show with 3D effects above these lit up hot air balloons. It was like an interactive Disney experience. The night ended with fireworks that lit up the sky with the mountains in the distance. I mean, it seriously was like being in the middle of a 3D movie. It was just absolutely amazing. Now, from that point, we traveled all the way back to Durango for our journey to head back home to Tennessee. There were elk grazing all along the roadside as we drove and lots of deer. But much different than the deer I'm used to. I grew up in Texas and now live in Tennessee. I'm used to the white-tailed deer. These deer had large ears, almost like a bunny rabbit. They are mule deer. Yes, mule deer. And I grabbed a few photos of the magpie birds. I just couldn't get over their markings. They have the coolest markings, almost like a blue jay and a mockingbird crossed, very vibrant. Well, as I was taking in all the wildlife along the drive and we were making our way back to Tennessee, there is another area outside of Durango I want to make note of. It is called Fort Garland. They have a great stop for Native American handmade items, as I had mentioned earlier. It's called Little Bear Trading Post. And as we left the mountains and gorgeous golden aspen trees with their white trunks behind, we were surrounded by windmills and trains with an overnight stop in Wichita Falls before arriving back home in Tennessee. I've never seen so much beauty. We had so much fun, learned so much about our land, the environment, and had some of the greatest food. I highly recommend this trip with family, and the best way to do it is driving the long haul. Yeah, we put on a lot of miles. Yes, a lot of hours of driving. But it was so well worth it. And there's nothing like heading out west. The serenity, the history, it is all there. As a matter of fact, they told us in 2020, when everything shut down and the national parks were able to be open, Utah has a population of 3 million. Over 2 million people visited Moab, Utah, and those Arches National Park within that one summer. It is quite the experience, so I highly recommend it. I hope you had a good time. I hope you loved the sights. And hopefully we can buckle up and head out again on another Jenn's Journey.